Public hearing on the budget was advertised. Anyone that wanted to speak on that had to request to speak by blanket this week. I've had no request. Jessica, have you received any?
No, sir.
So I declare the public hearing open. Without anyone to speak, we declare the public hearing closed. We'll be going into our county commission meeting, special call for the purposes that were listed. So we have a quorum. Are we ready to go? Okay. We'll call to order. Roll call. We have 14 people present, 7 absent. We'll have our prayer at this time. Lee, would you do a prayer for us?
Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that you've given us, Lord, and thank you for all that you've provided for us. We thank you for our county and what it means to us. We pray, Lord, that you'll just be with us during this meeting today as we make decisions, that it would be for the benefit of the county. Watch over all of us and keep us safe. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. I'll ask Sammy to place in our voice.
Sammy.
All right.
Go ahead.
No, you got it.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
From your street. Next item on the agenda is citizens' comments. I have one form here, David Seal. You come to the podium, Mr. Seal.
Where are you going to put me, Mayor? You going to put me up here at the podium?
Yeah.
I'll just project.
I think that microphone's on. If you want to do it, I'll turn it on.
Give me a little time here, Mayor. How's that?
That's good.
David Seal, 730 San Martin Road, Dandridge, County Commission, District 9. I have 3 quick items I'd like to cover. 1, I'm here to express my opposition to any public funding of the Chamber of Commerce. The $65,000 that's recommended in your budget would be better spent on the tourism department, where the county could get a return on its investment or held in reserve for a legitimate public use. If you waste the $65,000 on the Chamber of Commerce, all you're going to get in return is a picture every week in the Standard Banner. Item 2, I recommend that you place a stipulation on the $100,000 funding for the Joint Economic Development Committee such that that money cannot be funneled into the Chamber of Commerce. And then 3, finally, please attach a recommendation to the school system funding to make certain documents accessible on their website. And I did provide you with my suggested list. I don't mean any disrespect, but I have an event this weekend that I have to go to. I can't stay for the rest of the meeting. Sometime in the future, I would pray that you all would let me and other practitioners of the tourism industry some facts to you all about the tourism industry in this county. I can't do that in a 2-minute soundbite, neither can anybody else. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, sir. So that brings us to the business of our special call meeting. First item is Resolution 2022-30. Comes from the Budget Committee, needs no motion or second. Floor is open for discussion or hearing. Sir.
I'd like to move that the Boys and Girls Club, due to the fact that they're getting $60,000 in the ARPA fund, that $32 be increase be cut out.
I have a motion to amend $32K to be removed from the Boys and Girls Club. I have a second by Mr. Jefferson. Floor is open to discussion. Request to speak, Katie Huffman.
Okay. I don't support removing their funds because the ARPA, the American Rescue Plan, I thought was like a unique opportunity to help with COVID relief. And the Boys and Girls Club got money from the ARPA that the county set aside, but also the Newmarket Fire and Rescue Department, the White Pond Friends of the Fire Department, EMS, Dandridge Library. So, you know, if you're gonna remove one, are you gonna remove all of them? And so I just don't support that because, I think it's special funds that were set aside and they applied for them. I don't think anyone was told that they applied for those funds and they got them, that their regular budgeted funds could be cut, and so I just don't support that anymore.
Request to speak, Ms. Thomas.
Also not support paying that fund because as you stated that those payments are over a 3-year period. So it's not a great lump sum in any 1 year.
Mr. Burton.
Okay, here's one of the things, when we brought up those local fire departments, when we give them that money, that's a big part of their budget. This money with the Boys and Girls Club is just a minuscule amount of their budget that goes into it. But it can make a difference in our tax rate for the county, $60,000. It makes a big difference to the taxpayers, not as much as the Boys and Girls Club, since it's being reimbursed back, or they're already getting money from the federal government anyway. So they're still going to be getting the extra money. But why should the taxpayers this time have to suffer the cut of it?
Request to speak. Seeing none. You want to close? Yes.
Sure would like to. Well, to answer some of the questions, and I agree with Mr. Bird on that. One, the fire departments are listed as nonprofit, but they are an essential nonprofit, in my opinion. The fire department's funding, as Mr. Bird said, is a big part of this. So that's number one. Number two, the rest of those people that are on that ARPA money are not on our nonprofit list. We've pared that down. So besides your essential nonprofit of the fire departments, we're not doing anything that we're different. And as far as regular funding, the Boys and Girls Club didn't have the $68,000 in regular funding we're given. What we're doing with this budget is we're taking $32,000 from the taxpayers and telling them that you don't support the Boys and Girls Club enough, so we're smarter than you. And we're going to take that money and we're going to redistribute that because we don't think you're giving enough to the Boys and Girls Club. And I'll just be fair with you, I'm not that smart. I'm not going to take it from taxpayers to charity and prefer them over, and there's tons of deserving charities. There's tons of churches that deserve money. There's tons of everything that deserves money. But the taxpayers, this is taxpayers' money. This is not money that's coming from church, from hotel motel. This is not outside money. This is taxpayer money you are taking and redistributing. Thank you.
Thank you. If you're in favor of the the amendment to reduce the Boys and Girls Club by 32K, vote yes. If you oppose the amendment, vote no.
Randy Bales.
I can get signed in.
Randy Bales, I said
You vote yes or no?
Yes.
Yes by Bales. Who else can?
yes.
Yes. Terry Dockery, yes. What is it, 10?
Eight, 10, yes. So five.
Amendment fails. So we're back to the original resolution 2230, appropriations for nonprofits. Request to speak.
We increased the companion rescue this time. And there has been some back and forth talk that there has been some issues with the animal control boys taking stuff over there and then telling her full or whatever. I would like to add an amendment to their memorandum of understanding in big bold letters that they cannot refuse the stuff that the animal control people come in. They have to, this is what we're paying them for on this. This is part of the deal. And I'd like to see that go in on the memorandum of understanding that they cannot refuse that without their funding being shut off. If they refuse to take what the animal control people bring in, then their money stops from the county.
That's a motion to add that to the memorandum of understanding.
Add that to the memorandum of understanding.
Is there a second? Mr. Moore. Discussion. Ms. Highfield.
We need to add verbiage where the animal control notify the chairman of the commission if there's a chairman of the commission, if there's a problem, so we can be aware, instead of just maybe hearsay, I don't know. But we
They-
never get notified formally that there's a problem.
They usually report to the animal control oversight board.
Yeah, I
Okay,
get,
so-
I mean, it would be,
So have you gotten a complaint like that before?
well, we discussed it at our last meeting and, what's her name that runs it?
Lisa.
Lisa said
Lisa
that never
Breen.
had happened.
But you've never gotten a formal complaint
No.
from our animal?
But if they can, I can make it clear to them that they need to contact me.
Okay, that's what I think, there should be some better communication with the commission when there's an issue.
Yeah, that theoretically should come from the animal control oversight board as they're the liaison with CARE. Sheriff, you've got something to add? Sheriff Coffey.
The only thing I can add to that is 8:30 this Monday morning, we got a notification that there's no cages paid. Was told our insurance.
There you go.
Who was that from?
That was from one of the message was sent to the animal control officer that was on duty, and he forwarded it to me. There's no cages available, they're not adopted.
Request to speak. We had a motion and a second. If you're in favor of adding to the memorandum of understanding that they accept all animals that are brought in by animal control, is that
Yes, sir.
that way? If you're in favor of that amendment, vote yes. If you're opposed, vote no.
And they have to maintain their funding.
Yes. That would be already in the memorandum of understanding, so. I think John will vote yes, yes.
Randy Bales.
Bales?
Yes. Terry Dockery.
Terry
Yes.
Dockery? Yes. It passes 13-1. So that memorandum will be added to the memorandum of understanding. That clause will be added. Next item, we are still on resolution 22-30, appropriations for nonprofits. Seeing no one request to speak, all in favor vote yes, opposed vote no.
John Neal.
You're for it? All three yeses, sir. Thank you. Passes 12-1. That moves us to resolution 22-31. That's appropriation for various departments for the fiscal year 2022-2023. Comes from my budget committee, needs no motion or second. Request to speak. Seeing none, all in favor vote yes. Opposed, vote no. 3 yeses. Passes 14-0. Next item, 2022-32, fixing the tax levy at $2.19. No one to speak. If you're in favor, vote yes. Opposed, vote no. 3 more yeses. And that's the same as last year. It passes 14-0. Next item is Resolution 2022-33, lease of business machines. This is a yearly lease we do every year. That comes from the budget committee as well. Any request to speak? Seeing none, in favor, vote yes. 3 over here. Opposed, vote no. Passes 14-0. Next item is recapitulation. Comes from
Budget Committee,
and it'll have to be amended with the, no, there's no other amendments to it, right?
No, but they do need to sign. If your name is on there, you need to sign this thing.
So if you're on the budget committee, once this passes, before you leave today, you need to sign it, and then we'll have to go run down the other ones that are not here. That has to be turned in when the budget goes to the state.
Which is within the next 7 days.
Okay, so, all in favor of vote yes, opposed, vote no. 3 yeses. Passes 14-0. Now we're to budget amendments, county budget amendments. Chair of the Budget Committee, 101, needs no motion or second. Anything to add?
There is an additional one to that. If you do not have it, there should be 1 through 8. Does everybody have it?
You gave everybody
Yes.
updated. Okay. All in favor of budget amendment 101, number 13, items 1 through 8, vote yes. Opposed, vote no. They vote yes. We're good. So, revenue fund, budget 1, county amendment 116, number 4, item 1. No discussion. All in favor, vote yes. Opposed, vote no. Yes. We're gonna make it easier. Raise your hand if you vote no next time. This passes 14-0. Next item is 127, number 5, items 1 and 2. All in favor, vote yes. Opposed, vote no. Passes 14-0. Budget Amendment 131, number 7, item 1. All in favor, vote yes. Opposed, vote no. Passes 14-0. Budget Amendment 207, number 6, items 1 and 2. In favor, vote yes. Opposed, vote no. It passes 14-0. That brings us down to school amendments, 141, number 14, items 1 through 7. All in favor, vote yes. Opposed, vote no. Passes 14-0. 141, number 5, item 1. favor vote yes, opposed vote no. Passes 14-0. 141, number 16, item 1. All in favor vote yes, opposed vote no. (141) number 17, item 1 through 4. The last one passed 14-0. All in favor of 141 number 17 vote yes, opposed vote no. It passes 14-0. 143 number 5, items 1 through 3. Favor vote yes, opposed no, passes 14-0. Policy review comes from the Finance Committee. Suspend the budget, needs no motion or second. It's the travel policy for the county. You have the current policy and the updated policy in your, that you got in your vote in your email. So it's policy number 2.1 on travel. No request to speak. All in favor vote yes. Yes. Opposed? Passed. 13 with 1 abstain. Bids and quotations also comes from the Finance Committee. Recommend to approve. All in favor vote yes. Opposed vote no. Passed with majority. So that brings us down to the nonprofit fiscal recovery recommendation. You have that page there. That comes from the Budget Committee, needs no motion or second. All in favor vote yes. Opposed vote no. Passes 12, 1 voting no, 1 abstaining. That brings us to the conclusion of everything that we have on our special call meeting. We are adjourned. Now let me welcome you all to our 230th celebration. I thought we were going to start out like 230 years ago with no power. I called this morning and said there's no power in Dandridge. And miraculously we have power, so that's good. We have several guests that are here. We have some resolutions and some people that have come to help celebrate with us. We have some displays from the Archives Department, and many thanks to Lou and Wayne and all those people there for putting this together for us, especially you. Thank you to Glenn for filling in for Frank today. We really need to thank Lauren Hurdle with our tourism department. She has worked diligently with this and has done a great job. So with that welcome, we have a couple of proclamations. The first one would be our very own. It's a proclamation honoring Jefferson County on the occurrence of Jefferson County's 230th anniversary. Whereas Jefferson County was established on June 11th, 1792 by William Blount, governor of the Southwest Territory from Caswell County during the state of Franklin. And whereas Jefferson County has been, and to this day, an integral component of East Tennessee, with other counties formed out of original Jefferson County. Whereas Jefferson County has survived many challenges during the past 230 years, wars, pandemics, economic depressions, and all other challenges our nation has experienced as well. Whereas Jefferson County prioritized education as a vital aspect of life and demonstrated by recovery and sustainability of Carson Newman University after the Civil War, and Jefferson County has continued to commit to educate our children. Whereas industrial, rail, mining, lakes, and interstates have all provided challenges and opportunities for Jefferson County with jobs and prosperity through the years, proving the commitment and the work ethic of the residents of Jefferson County. Whereas Jefferson County is 230 years old today, and we gather on this day of celebration, now therefore I, Mark Potts, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Mayor of Jefferson County, proclaim June 11, 2022, Jefferson County Day. In witness hereof, I caused my hand and caused the seal of Jefferson County be affixed the 7th day of June, the year of our Lord 2022. We also have a proclamation from Mayor Byrd from Granger County. And whereas the County of Jefferson celebrates its 230th year in 22. It's fitting to recognize the neighboring county of Jefferson on the occasion of the special milestone to applaud its distinguished history. Whereas the county of Jefferson was established June 11, 1792 by William Blount, governor of the Southwest Territory, from part of Caswell County during the state of Franklin period, and it encompassed approximately 1,200 square miles. And I think Wayne told me that Jefferson County used to go all the way to Clingman's Stone. We want it back. We'll take Spear County back now. The first permanent settlement at Daniels dates back to 1783. The village became the county seat in 1793. Fertile soil and favorable treaties with the Indian tribes of the area attracted hundreds of settlers to Jefferson County. By 1795, Jefferson County reported a population of approximately 7,500 people. The rivers that brought them to the area supported a large variety of plants, animals, and freshwater fish. It would also provide farm-to-market roads for the corn, wheat, and cattle, which these industrious pioneers produced. The rivers remained the primary transportation system in the county until the first railroad was constructed in 1858. So, whereas in 1914 valuable zinc ore deposits were discovered in Jefferson County, by 1960, 4 major companies were mining zinc in the county from 1950 to 1995. Jefferson County claimed the distinction of being the largest producer of zinc ore in the United States. Whereas in recognition of the county's rich history and enduring contribution, it is deemed an honor to pay tribute to this county on occasion of its 230th year celebration. Signed by Mike Bird, Mayor of Granger County. So we have some other people here in person. First of all, I'd like to recognize Mayor Glenn Jacobs from Knox County. Knox County has the same birthday that Jefferson County does. I don't know which one of us is minutes older, but there is a picture up here, or a reenactment of 4 people, and that's Blunt signing of the document. Mayor Jacobs in his building has the original painting, a very large one, of this same thing. We're hoping to reproduce this and put it up courthouse. Mayor Jacobs, welcome. We're glad to have you here.
All right. Stand here, is that okay?
Yeah, there's microphones there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for having me here today. This is a proclamation on behalf of the people of Knox County to publicly recognize Jefferson County's 230th birthday. And it reads, whereas in 1792, the portion of the federal government's western lands that would become Tennessee, especially the area around and beyond Knoxville, still sat on the far edge of the frontier. And whereas, then more commonly called the Southwest Territory, those lands consisted of 2 separate settlements. The Metro District along the Cumberland River, centered around what is now the Nashville area, and the Washington District, centered along the Holston River in what is now Upper East Tennessee. They are separated from the rest of North Carolina by the Appalachian Mountains and from each other by a wide stretch of indigenous peoples' lands. And whereas on June 11, 1792, William Blount, governor of the Southwest Territory, carved out the boundaries of both Knox and Jefferson counties, effectively bringing government business closer to the people of the region. And whereas today marks 230 years since the counties were formed. And whereas Jefferson County was named for President, statesman, and author of the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson, and it was there that legendary hunter, storyteller, and politician David Crockett lived early in his adult life. And whereas nestled in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains, Jefferson County is rich in history, southern charm, and beautiful mountain lake scenery thanks to Douglas and Cherokee Lakes. Now therefore, I, Glenn Jacobs, Knox County Mayor, do formally recognize June 11th, 2022 as Jefferson County's birthday and urge all citizens to join me in this observance. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, Darrell Brady, representative from Congresswoman Harshberger, has something that's pretty unique, doesn't usually happen. I'm not going to steal your thunder.
Well, it gives me great pleasure to be here today. Not only as a representative of Congresswoman Diana Harshberger, your representative in Congress, but also as a lifelong Jefferson County resident. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention a few folks that are here. Jim and Laura Hinchy and Wayne Roberts from the Archives Office and Bob Jarnigan, who county historians. Jim and Laura were the first ones to kind of start the Archives Office up, and they were recognized when I was at the Chamber of Commerce for being our first Volunteers of the Year towards tourism. So they did a lot. Steve Marion's back there. Steve and I actually took a trip down in the zinc mines 2,000 feet below, and I'm just glad to come back out, Steve. Glad to see you again. So, also, Mayor, you'll be proud to know I already purchased license plates this morning for my father, so I've left money here as well, just like always in Dandridge.
Come often.
Yes, that's right. This is a congressional record statement, so this will be entered into Congress, and this will be in the records forever. And we hope that you will enjoy it, and we framed it for you this morning, but let me read it. Congresswoman Harshbarger regrets that she could not be here this morning, but sends her regards as well. So this is from Honorable Diana Harshbarger of Tennessee in the House of Representatives, June 11th, 2022, honoring and celebrating the 230th anniversary of Jefferson County, Tennessee. Madam Speaker, I rise to recognize the historic celebration of Jefferson County's 230th anniversary. On June 11, 1792, Governor William Blount, by ordinance, formed Jefferson County, originally a part of North Carolina. Later, when Tennessee became a state in 1796, Jefferson County was claimed by the state of Tennessee, and 3 other counties have since been formed out of the original land of Jefferson County. On July 23, 1792, the first county court of Jefferson County was organized at the home of Jeremiah Matthews. The county court selected a distinguished committee to locate a county seat, which became Dandridge, in honor of President George Washington's wife, Martha Dandridge Custis Washington, America's First Lady. The famed frontiersman Davy Crockett found his way to Jefferson County in 1806 and was married to Polly Finley at the Finley's home place. After meeting at a harvest dance, and the folk hero sold his rifle in 1806 to post a marriage bond. He and Polly had 2 children while in Jefferson County and lived there until 1811. Davy Crockett, ironically, also served 2 terms in the United States House of Representatives from 1827 to 1831. This beautiful county is nestled at the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains and is home to 2 TVA lakes, and both Cherokee Dam and Douglas Dam. These dams were built in record time, a record for the time back then, for construction to support the World War II emergency effort. Jefferson County is home to Carson Newman University, Bush Beans, the world's largest supplier of baked beans, along with many other notable businesses and industries, Century Farms, and 5 incorporated cities or towns, including Dandridge, Jefferson City, New Market, White Pine, and Bainbury. Jefferson County is also home to the Patriots of Jefferson County High School in beautiful Dumpling Valley, and it continues to be a great place to live, work, and raise a family. Madam Speaker, today I rise to recognize Jefferson County, Tennessee on this historic and momentous occasion of its 230th anniversary. Respectfully entered by Congresswoman Diana Harshbarger.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hollis, we have a representative from Governor Lee's office. Do you have greetings? I didn't mean to catch you off guard, but you know when you represent the governor, there's people taller.
I'm usually caught off guard, so it's not abnormal. Thank you all so much for welcoming me here today, and thank you so much for Mr. Brady and Mayor Jacobs for offering those wonderful proclamations. On behalf of the governor's office and the governor himself, congratulations on this milestone anniversary for Jefferson County. You all are a wonderful county filled with many diverse and wonderful people, and you offer a lot to the state of Tennessee. So on behalf of the governor, we're very proud of what you all do in Tennessee, and please just keep it up. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. We have a greeting from Senator Marshall Blackburn, so we'll hopefully, there we go.
Jefferson County, 230 years, it's mighty good. And I am so so excited to join you to celebrate all of these great events that you have, the Lakeside of the Smokies Hot Air Balloon Festival, and of course, all of those vast fishing tournaments and countless other community events. Congratulations to you all for being so vibrant and having so many activities there in the county. I want to say a thank you to Mayor Potts for inviting me to join you virtually today, and to encourage each of you to find us online at Marcia Blackburn.
Okay, thank you. Have I overlooked anyone? Carson Newman.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mayor. I'm Kevin Triplett, Vice President of University Relations at Carson Newman, and we are very proud that of the 230 years, 171 of those, we've been a partner with Jefferson County and called it our home on that little hill on Mossy Creek. The Board of Trustees, administration, faculty, staff, students, and alumni of Carson Newman University extends Christian greetings and congratulations to Jefferson County, Tennessee in celebration of its establishment 230 years ago. Its rich contributions to the citizenry of the great state of Tennessee and beyond. Signed and dated this 11th day of June 2022, Dr. Charles A. Fowler, President of Carson Newman. Thank you all. We are so glad to call Jefferson County our home.
Thank you. Before we go on, I'd like for those who helped put this together from the archives, plain blue, y'all would stand so we can see who you are and recognize you. I mean, these people work. We're going to talk So this is near and dear to their heart as it is ours, and thank you for protecting our heritage and displaying it for us today. At this time, our county historian, Bob Jarnigan, is going to come forward.
Good morning, everyone. I was asked to speak about 230 years of Jefferson County history briefly. How am I going to do that? But I got a little something together for you. And this is mainly about the early history of Jefferson County. You know, at the close of the American Revolution in 1783 is when the land west of the Appalachian Mountain chain officially became available for settlement. And when the first settlers started making their way across the mountains and into this area, this was considered to be Greene County, North Carolina. And Greene County was a huge county, went all the way to the Mississippi River at this time. But trouble was brewing on the frontier. The Cherokee Nation was challenging the legitimacy of the claims that these early settlers were making on their land, and the seat of government for North Carolina was so far removed from the frontier that it offered little protection for these settlers. There was little in the way of formal government at that time, and there was already talk in this area about forming a new state. Well, when the close of the Revolution came along, the new federal government offered options to these 13 colonies who had their western lands across the mountains, and one of those options was they could form a new state. So the people in Jefferson County and upper East Tennessee sprang into action and formed a new state. They formed a new state named Franklin in 1784, and for 4 years we operated as Caswell County, state of Franklin. The state of Franklin went before Congress for a vote. Would it become the 14th state? It missed by 2, being Franklin, not Tennessee. 2 votes is all it missed by. So at that time, the land in East Tennessee becomes a territory. It's the territory of the U.S. south of the River Ohio. William Blount is the territorial governor, and by 1792, there's enough settlement in this area for Governor Blount to declare and carve out 2 new counties. One is Jefferson, named in honor of Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson. The other is Knox County, named in honor of Henry Knox. Now, the newly formed Jefferson County, one of the first things they need to do is we got to have a seat of government. Where are we going to build our courthouse and operate from? Well, the newly elected commissioners went around to various areas in the new county, and the county was much bigger at that time than it is today because Cotton County, Sevier County, and the southern half of Hamlin County all came out of the original Jefferson County. And one of those meeting yards near the big town spring, they decided this was the best spot for the new county seat. But they needed to come up with an appropriate name for their new county seat, didn't they? And the name they picked, I think, tells us a lot about the character of our early settlers here in Jefferson County. They were patriotic men and women, and in January of 1793, they honored a woman with their name of their new town. Martha Dandridge Custis Washington, the first lady of our country, and George Washington's wife. I think that tells us a lot about the character of the people that were our early settlers here. By 1796, the state of Tennessee's come along and been formed, and since that time, Jefferson County, Tennessee. Moving forward in time, the two most significant events, in my opinion, that have impacted the lives of the people here in Jefferson County was the period of the when both Union and Confederate armies, large armies, occupied Jefferson County during the winter of 1863 and 64, and they took what they needed from the citizens for survival, and they ravaged the countryside. And the saddest part about that is the loyalties in Jefferson County were split right down the middle between loyal and rebel. We had cousins against cousins in this conflict, and the wounds were hard to heal. The second event is the coming of TVA to East Tennessee, and the construction of Cherokee Dam in 1941 and Douglas Dam in 1942. It changed the landscape. Some of our richest farmland along the French Broad River and the Holston River, the destruction of homes. Some people had lived there for generations and they lost their homes. Whole communities were wiped out. It changed the landscape and the lives of people forever. The landscape changed because the two rivers now become two lakes. We have Cherokee Lake, we have Douglas Lake. So the landscape has changed forever. But throughout all these challenges, the resilient citizens of Jefferson County have found ways to survive, prosper, and move into the future. Jefferson County is a wonderful place to live, and I would like to invite you now to view a short video about Jefferson County Courthouse that was recently produced by the Project Let's Chat and Visit Jefferson County.
Jefferson County historian, and today's Let's Chat is brought to you by Visit Jefferson County, the lake side of the Smokies. Our landmark site today is the Jefferson County Courthouse, and we'll be delving into the rich history that makes this landmark the cornerstone of the Jefferson County community.
We have the richest history in the state. So when you come to Jefferson County, you're going to experience the modern conveniences of anywhere else that you go, but you're still going to find that small town friendliness, people speaking to you, asking you who you are, where you're from, and welcoming you to Jefferson County. Dandridge's theme is "We save a place for you." Jefferson County is we welcome you. We're glad that you're here, and so it makes it even richer, better place to live and raise your family and just to have fun.
Jefferson County was formed in July 1792 and named after Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson. The first county court met in Shade Grove at the home of Jeremiah Matthews. In 1793, the commissioners of the new county selected the area around Reverend Robert Henderson's lower meeting house as the spot for their new county seat of government. This is where the first church in the area was organized in 1785 on Francis Dean's land grant. The new town was named Dandridge in honor of Martha Dandridge, wife of George Washington. This is where the courthouse would be erected, but it took some time for the government buildings to be constructed, so the next courts met at houses in Dandridge, such as the Billy Blue Log Cabin, formerly located on the main road just above the current courthouse. In 1844, the county appointed Judge Robert Hyde as chairman of the building committee to plan a new, larger courthouse. The new courthouse was completed in 1845 and utilizes which was popular at the time. Running or common bond brick pattern where every 5 or 6 courses they're going to turn the brick the other way and lock those layers together. The bricks were made in the McQuiston Brickyard east of town and are laid in the running bond pattern. The roof is framed using mortise and tenon joints and without the use of nails. Greek Revival style is right here by our door. We have side lights and transom around the door, and that's classic Greek Revival style. More Greek Revival architectural style that's used in the Jefferson County Courthouse would be these large white columns in front to support the triangular pediment up above, and then down the wall you have the white plastered pilasters that match your columns. In 1957, an addition was added off of the back corner of the original building. There was a need for additional offices and vaults. There's never been a major fire at the courthouse, and all of the county records are intact back to the original founding date of 1792. The archives office, located on the second floor, is in charge of preserving and cataloging the old county documents. In 1957, the county appointed Reverend Rural Pritchett to establish the Jefferson County Historical Museum inside the courthouse. The museum houses an eclectic array of artifacts from throughout the history of our area. Here we have a section of one of the original logs of the John Crockett dwelling house in limestone, which is the house that David Crockett was born in. Old photographs hang along the walls of the museum, including the oldest known photograph of the courthouse and many other buildings around Jefferson County, such as the stately Glenmore Mansion in Jefferson City. One of the most popular documents on display is the 1806 marriage bond between David Crockett and Polly Finley. And don't miss the display case where there is an exact replica of David Crockett's Pennsylvania long rifle that he carried through the woods of Jefferson County while living here as a young man. By the 1970s, the old courthouse was beginning to show its age and looking a bit rough. So in 1978, the nonprofit Restore Our Courthouse was formed for the purpose of obtaining a grant toward a plan to restore the courthouse. County historian George Bowman was the driving force behind the restoration efforts, and Gene Burr from Knoxville was hired as architect. The county received a major grant, and by the 1980s, the effort was underway with the restoration of the cupola and putting on a new wood-shaped roof which would match the original. Layers of yellow and white paint were chemically removed from the brick with care, and mortar repointed where needed. But there was a time we almost lost this wonderful structure. Train from Dandridge. Opposition to the plan was fierce among the citizens around Dandridge, and also many of the businesses that would be severely impacted, such as Bush Brothers and Company, which stood to lose much of their finest produce growing lands along the French Broad River, as well as their oak grove processing plant. But Congress approved the Douglas Project in January of 1942 during the midst of World War II, and construction began on February 2nd. The federal government needed vast amounts of energy to divert for the production of aluminum in Alcoa and the construction of the world's largest complex of buildings buildings in Oak Ridge to house the Secret Cities Manhattan Project. So they used the sentiment of doing your part for the war effort to push through the approval of the Douglas Dam project. Many communities located along the French Broad River would be flooded, and Dandridge was on the danger list. In fact, the surveyors had placed a round bronze marker on the second step in front of the courthouse representing the full level of the new lake. But the town of Dandridge formed a planning commission to deal with the upcoming changes, and this commission came up with the idea of building a large rock and earthen dike to hold back the waters from the new lake. The plan was submitted to TVA and the Army Corps of Engineers, and the plan was deemed doable. Congress appropriated $1 million for the construction of the dike, thereby saving the courthouse and the downtown Dandridge National Historic District. Thank you for chatting with us today. I hope you learned a thing or two along the way. We encourage you to visit the Jefferson County Courthouse and walk in the steps of Davy Crockett. From myself, our friends at Visit Jefferson County, and the entire Project Let's Chat team, we thank you for your time and hope that you will join us at our next landmark.
Hope you enjoyed that video. Next, I want to introduce Wayne Roberts, Director of our Archives. He's going to come up and tell us a little bit about the work there. But before we start, Wayne, I want you to come stand right here with me for a minute. I've got a little surprise for you.
Well, that's what I need, is a surprise.
You need a surprise. I have something under my cover here that I want to present to Wayne and all of the Jefferson County Archives volunteers. And this is presented on behalf of Ed Franklin, Tammy Franklin, and Franklin Real Estate in Dandridge in appreciation of all the hard work and long hours that you volunteers put in.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Put it down right here where people can see it, okay?
Wayne, real quick before you start, I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize Doug Goddard is here with us today. Was county executive, they weren't mayors then, right? So Doug was in my office one day. You know, we got the county seal. And I looked at that county seal and I said, they must have formed a committee, did a study, filed, argued, arm wrestled on what that seal was going to look like. So I asked Doug about it, and he said, I can tell you the story of the seal. So I thought it's going to be really great. And he said, we need the seal, we just copied one the state hadn't seen it.
Okay, before I start, Bob asked me if I would come and talk about the archives and then show everybody what we do in the archives. Well, I can take an hour on each one of those. But anyway, before I get into the program, there's two things I need to do. Number one, Mayor, thank you and the committee for inviting us here. And number two, you folks, county commissioners, thank you for your support, because without you guys, we'd be basically dead in the water. So thank you so much for supporting us. Okay, as you've already heard, we're in an old building. It dates back to the mid-1840s. Never had a major disaster. No fires, no broken water pipes or anything. As a result, like Bob said in his thing, we have records all the way back to the late 1700s. And our mission in the archives is to preserve and to protect those records. And also, the second object is to provide copies of those records to researchers or anyone who's doing work on the history of the county. Or now we're getting a lot of folks who want to know, well, I just bought this house out here. Who owned this farm 100 years ago? So that's our two main goals. At the present time, we have 18 volunteers. None of us are paid. We're all volunteers from all walks of life. Retired military, retired teachers, even one retired federal judge. We love what we do. We each one have a different job to do. We have a different work crew each day. Last year, we contributed over 5,000 hours of work in the archives as a group. The sign-up book out front, the visitors book out front that we ask visitors to sign when they come in. Last year, we had visitors from 42 different states and 6 foreign countries.
Wow.
So it's amazing what we do that way. Resources, what do we have? We have, like I said, the records in the old books. We have microfilm, over 1,000 rolls of microfilm covering deeds, wills, probates, court records, etc., and so forth. So I'm not going to spend much more time on what we've got. Let me go into, as Bob says, what we do. Don't you all get tired sitting up there looking at them old records all day long? Well, to go back a little bit in history, when Lou and Jim opened the vault doors back in 1996, what we had, they found 240 some odd banana boxes, crammed full of what we call loose records. So you can imagine the work that here says 1882 to 1893, Chancery Court, original bills. So now, in the last 25 years, we've been able to process and have on our computer database all the marriage records from 1790s to 2016 that we can print out a copy of either the marriage license or the bond if we have it. Now, I'll go into that a little bit later. We have 2 file cabinets, 4-door file cabinets that are chrome full of what we call family files. Filed by surname in alphabetical sequence. This is where we have accumulated data on family histories from the years. They come in real handy when someone comes in researching and they look around and they say, well, there's a family file on the same name as mine. And surprisingly, sometimes they say, well, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Somebody's already done it for me, where people have left with it. We have the top 2 rows of our library are notebooks on family histories and genealogy notebooks that have tremendous information. So it's a treasure love of what we've got. And we're so fortunate that we've never had an accident in this courthouse. So, I'll shut up about what we've got. Now, what do we do? Now, the only way I know to do that is to do a show and tell, Bob. So you're back in school this morning. Show and tell. Like I said, the banana box had all types of those old records. As many as 35 to 50 in each box. But I was afraid I'd get a hernia trying to carry it. Now, what we do, we have some people that takes one of those boxes and takes these puppies out. And you can see they're real good, clean documents too, aren't they? They're dirty, they're grimy. You really don't want to work with them too much. But what we do, we take one of those out, just like this, and we open it up, see what's in it, and it comes out, and look how filthy, how dirty. Grime and grit, everything accumulated on it over the years, where they stored, down the basement of the old jail for years, other locations. So what can we do? Well, we've got a magic. We have a magic eraser. It's a sponge-like that we can take and very lightly rub that several times, and that grime and grit will come off. If you don't think they're dirty, after about 5 or 6 times, look what your sponge is. It's like it's in a coal yard, doesn't it? But that cleans the records out. Now, once we get those cleaned up, somebody who's working now will take acid-free file folder, and they'll place those records inside the file folder. They'll look at it first to see what it is. They'll write up here in the corner what that record actually is. Is this from county court, circuit court, chancery court, where it originated? Put the year over here in the center. And if it's a court case, they'll write John Doe versus Joe Blow. And they'll put all those documents inside that file and then put it in a different ASCII box. And that's the whole key of preserving the record, is ASCII. Store that box over here. Somebody else will come along and they'll take that folder, they'll take every one of the pages out, and they will very lightly, in the upper right-hand corner, start numbering. Page 1, turn it over, page 2, page 3, page 4. When they get that done, they will then lay this folder down, take page 1, and they'll read page 1 and write every name that's on that page 1 on this folder. Go on down through and complete it out. They'll place that in the second ASCII box, where the other volunteers will come along and take that document out. They'll go over to their computer. They'll type in all the names on page 1. Once they finish that, they'll take page 1, lay it down on the flatbed scanner, scan that into our computer database. It's had a number assigned to it by then. Now it's in our computer database. So we have that. That, in essence, is what we do in getting the records preserved. Once they're preserved, if someone walks in and say, well, my great-great-grandfather was married here in 1820, do you have his marriage license? Probably. We'll go in, plug in a name. If I want to look for all the Robertses that were married in Jefferson County, put in a name, and all of them will come up, and we can do. Or you put the full name in, and that one name can come up. Same way with court records. We're now transcribing court records from we're up to about the 1880s, 1890s, working on those. I told my wife our grandkids would be working on these things before we get them all through. But again, if you had an ancestor that was involved in any court case, chances are we've got him captured in our database. And we had one the other day, a lady was researching the court case here on a land dispute. She had done a lot of research in advance and discovered that that court case went all the way to the state Supreme Court. She had a copy of the state Supreme Court record. She did not realize that it was what we had, so she came here and we could run pages of that to the courts for her. So there's a lot of research we can do like that. The other thing that takes up our time is when someone walks in the door. We're kind of like Pawn Stars, you know, on the History Channel. We never know what's coming through the door next. And when someone walks through the door and say, I'm trying to do some research on my family, I think they were here in the early years, and we take off our history hat, our archives hat, we put on our research hat, and we work with those folks. And a lot of times they'll walk in at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and they'll leave at 3. But when they leave, they'll have a package of information of different items. A lady stopped by about 6 months ago, through on vacation. I'm not sure if my relatives were here or not, but I thought I'd just see. Well, when she left 3.5 hours later, she had 30 pages. Marriages, wills, deeds, etc. that we were able to provide. So we enjoy what we do. And I guess where we get our nice, warm, fluffy feelings from doing this is about 4 years ago, had a lady came in researching, and she said, my great-great-great-grandfather, 1815, 1820, I think was married here. Sure enough, we pulled up the marriage license. She looked at it. She said, I can't believe I'm looking at this on the computer here. I said, would you like to see the original? You got it? Went and pulled it. Let her have a white gloves, and tears came down her cheeks. That's where we got the warm, fluffy feeling of what we do to help people. The other thing we like to do, we're using service learning kids from the high school to come in and help us. Because this younger generation needs to know their ancestorship. I saw a statistic the other day that said 70% of high school juniors and seniors cannot name their 4 grandparents. They're losing their heritage where we came from. We also do research by email and by phone call. And we're getting a lot of calls now and a lot of emails where we do research and get with that way. On top of that, we're responsible for the museum too. And Mayor, you've already recognized, but I've got to do something. I'm gonna get shot for this, I know. But all this here this morning is the result of this lady sitting right here. She drives from West Knoxville every Monday morning to work at the museum and the archive. Barbara, you need all the recognition for what's taking place this morning. The last thing is the veterans boards outside. We try to maintain those. And to me, that's an important thing we do. Because any Jefferson County who was killed in action could be on that board. Again, our heritage, that's what we want to preserve for the future. But we have so much to do and so little time to do it in, really. County Commission for helping us. Thank you, Mayor, for letting us go on. Now, let me talk just briefly about this. Briefly, it's going to be an hour. As he said, we have a picture that's down at Knoxville. We may come down and steal that.
I think they stole it from us.
That's what happened, yeah, we had
We can talk about it.
that is Governor William Blood, General John Sevier, Surveyor Charles McClung Library and Knoxville Geological Research, and Alexander Outlaw, one of our folks. So all this here is photocopies of the actual documents being signed. The book right here is the first book for county court sessions, 1792. Pictures of it also. Over here, right briefly, this is well, let me back up. This is the original Jefferson County black line where we go all the way to Cleveland Hill. Guys, hey guys, every one of you, if you lived in Wallen in 1792, you would have to ride your horse to Dandridge, you and one of your friends, to get your marriage license. And when you got here, you would have to sign a $1,250 bond. That's the first thing you did. You signed the bond, give it to the clerk. Clerk then would give you the marriage license. You take it back to Walnut, go to the justice of the peace or the preacher or whoever performs the ceremony. He would have to sign it saying, yes, I married these two. It's supposed to go back to the courthouse. And then the clerk at the courthouse would log that in to what is referred to as a marriage register, just a damn book. So that'd be a long trip, wouldn't it? But that's what we have. This is just some examples of the various marriage license and marriage bonds. I'm intrigued by how in the 1850s and 70s and 80s they printed those things. And there's one marriage license on there that is really unique. It's where the couple had to take an oath of allegiance to the United States before they got married. 1866, so you know what brought that up. Davy Crockett's 2 marriage licenses are right here. 1836, we divided into 15 civil districts. It's a map of each one of them, and all of this is each civil district. The little white paper is a layout of kind of like a deed of how that district was formed. But the page under it is a listing of all the known residents in that district in 1836. So if you get ancestors here prior to that, like me, I had to go through and look. I didn't know which district, but I found it. Lastly, post office, history of post office. This big blue map is a 1930 map from the U.S. Postal Service of all the rural routes in Jefferson County. It lists, if you're getting, it's hard to read and being on blue, but it lists all the post offices in the county. And a bunch of them I bet you don't recognize. How about Tryon? How about Lucinda? It shows the routes. Edna, 1930. Also, the rest of this is post office. All the post offices that were in the county. And then the paperwork here takes all those post offices and lists who was postmaster down through the years, from beginning up to, I think, the 1960s. The little table, I couldn't go by without putting these up. These are books that we have for sale in the archives. Dr. Muntie's book, Stories of Stones, is 3 volumes of the cemeteries in the county that back in the 1980s and 1990s, a group put those out. Gene Bible's book is also there in the archives. And the other 2 books, From the Battlefields to the Smokies and The Blue, the Gray, and Reds, are 2 books that myself and 2 other volunteers worked on for about 3 or 4 years and tried to do and identify every Civil War soldier that's buried in the county, where they're buried, and a lot of information about them. And the other one's the same way with the Revolutionary War. But some freebies here too. There's a handout that tells you the history of the archives completely, and then there's also copies of the what we call the rack cards. They are placed in all the welcome centers up and down I-40 and I-81, and in local businesses promoting the archives and the museum, etc. So, now that I've bored you for an hour, thank you for...
You're always interesting. We appreciate everything.
Come and see us sometime.
You're always open. So we have members of the celebration committee that put this together. Katie, Jimmy, Bob, who am I missing? Eric. Sorry. They met and done this. The other thing is we will be at the Old Time Saturday with a booth, still celebrating. Probably have something at Pine Fest as well. So last but not least, we have cupcakes and water, and you'll notice that the water bottle is commemorative of the 230th anniversary on the label. So make sure you get one of those. What we have is what we have. We can't make any more cupcakes or water today. So what we have, first come, first served. I would draw your attention, if you're used to coming into the courthouse, you're used to seeing walls with not a whole lot on them. And over where Mayor Jacobs is, we have depicted a few scenes from Jefferson County, around the county. We got the cities and we got the courthouse. And that's there simply to say when county commission is meeting, we're representing everybody that's up on that wall. So it's just a reminder. We're a lot of communities, but we're one county. We have one purpose, and that's just to make this the best place to live possible. So that concludes our service, other than we have the Davy Crockett rifle presentation. He ain't gonna shoot in here.
I would like to remind you too that afterwards, anybody wants to stroll down to the Revolutionary War graveyard, some of the Garden Club members will be there for tours of the graveyard. And now we've got Clive Valentine and Jimmy Claiborne as Davy Crockett coming in to talk about their Crockett rifle and Crockett history.
Wow, you didn't say there's going to be anybody here. Who are all these people?
All the people who love Jefferson County.
Well, hallelujah. That's wonderful. Well, he told me to come down here and talk to a few people about an old muzzle-loading rifle that we've got in here that looks just like the Davy Crockett rifle. and explain a little bit about it. Jimmy's leaned up on it right here, the one that we've got in the archives back here, normally. This is copied after a Pennsylvania-style rifle. It's called a swamp barrel on it. And if you'll turn that thing around a little bit, it's bigger around up here than it is in the middle, and it's bigger at the back than it is in the middle. Makes it easier to carry. It was one of the best rifles of the time. And people that done a lot of hunting had several rifles, and they always had one real good rifle that they liked, just like everybody does today. They got one that they really like. Well, this is one of them, this old rifle that's designed after a Pennsylvania rifle. And how many years has it been, Jimmy, since we brought that thing in here the first time? Do you know, how long has it been since we...
What year was that, Lou, when you retired?
At least 3 weeks ago, they wanted me to put a kit together to look like this rifle. I said, well, I've done that. I've made lots of these kits for old muzzle-loading rifles because I like to deer hunt and play with muzzle-loading guns. And we went down to Middle Tennessee to pick it up, and it wasn't much of a kit. It was just pieces. Nothing was fitted to anything. And I started on this thing and worked hours and hours and hours inlaying the rifle into the stock and get the mechanism to work in it because it wasn't a kit. And we run into a year, and I'd get tired of it and put it away for a while, and Bob or somebody else would call me and say, you're going to have to get that rifle done. So I get started on it again, and you have to take blacking and put on the wood and put the part in there and then cut the blacking away just a little bit at a time so it fits perfectly when you get through, because that's the way they done it 200 years ago. Finally got it together, and we brought it up here and had a little demonstration similar to this and fired the rifle. And Bob said, we'd like for you to come up and present the rifle when you get it made. And I said, only one condition. He said, what's that? I said, I want to shoot it off the courthouse steps. And he said, that ain't going to happen. They won't let you shoot it at the courthouse steps. And I said, Bob, I've known you a long time, and I know for a fact that you can get it done. If anybody here can get it done, Bob can. So we fired this thing off the courthouse steps and shot a skillet down on the dike down there, down the street. Had a real good day at it. But anyway, you're flirting with some woman over here. What are you doing?
Lord made you think better than me when you kept it.
All right. So today, they want us to fire the rifle again today, and I'm here to tell you that this is the best muzzle-loading rifle. I tell you what, Davy Crockett, at 30 yards, can fire his muzzle loader and hit a target, reload that rifle, and put another ball right on top of it.
I believe he can do it. My
You
granddaddy used to hunt with him.
You've seen him do that.
I've seen him do it.
So what? Yeah. Well, I tell you what. Do this. I'll put a can on my head.
No, Rob. I'll do it.
30 seconds.
Okay.
Now, before we go outside and do that, we're going to actually shoot this thing off of it. I don't know his name. What's your name?
Ed Franklin.
We've got a place picked out up here with the background with a big
Tree.
yeah, it's a tree. I'm trying to think of the name of the tree. I think it's a maple, but it's that big around. It's going to be behind the shot, so it'll hit that tree. But we're going to actually shoot this rifle at a can off his head. Being that I'm not going to have to do
how hard
like
his head was.
Now, what do you think about it? You think you can do that?
I don't think I know how to do it. I can't do a lot of stuff, but I can do that.
Being this is a Christian company, we're not gonna make no bets on this, but I guarantee you, he'll be able to hit that can without doing any damage to this guy's hair on his head.
He's let that other boy shoot, ain't he? And took his hair off.
Yeah, somebody got too close, didn't he, Jim?
Let's get her done.
All right, we're gonna move this outside, and I'm gonna take this guy so he can't get away, because he's done promised to do this. I'm gonna take him up the street here, and I'm gonna hold the can on his head. So we'll move this outside. I can get this done.